everybody. This is City Scrapper. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have a layout chair for you, and I'm excited to show you all the layouts I made during the October Load event. Load stands for Layout a Day, and it's hosted by scraphappy.org, and you can check out some information about it on their website if you'd like to know more. I'm going to get started right in showing you the layouts. This layout was made using an older Simple Stories collection. When I'm doing load, because you only have one day to make a layout, I do like to use collections where I have a decent amount of embellishments that go along with the papers, and that way I don't have to search around for things. So since I had several embellishments that went with these papers, I thought this would be perfect, and I had fun layering the title, and I love using this little frame, and yeah, I just had fun making this. I put some white splatters in the background, and I do have a process video for this one. This one was made on day 2, and I am showing them to you in the order that I created them. This one was made using a Paige Evans cut file. I do have a process video for this one, and I backed the cut file with a bunch of little scraps that I had, and I also backed the photo with scraps as well. I used some mixed media in the background, some colored pearls, and this spiderweb doily that I had. There is also a process video for this one called Frightful, and I made this one layering some circles, and I distressed the edges of the circles, and I had several Halloween embellishments that I thought would look nice on this page, and I use a die to cut out these corners. I made this layout using the prompt for the day, and I found this Don't Wish for It, Work for It cut file in the Silhouette Design Store, and I used some graduation theme papers and embellishments, and this one came together pretty quickly. This one is called Vamp It Up, and I do have a process video for this one. I used some mixed media in the background, and then I just layered up a bunch of leaves and little Halloween picks and other things that I had collected to go along with Halloween themed pages, and I feel like these two bats just finish it off. And I got this idea for Vamp It Up for a title. I found that on the internet. For this page, I use a cut file, and I just put some mixed media in the background, and I backed the cut file with some pattern papers, and then for the word lovin', I knew I wouldn't have time to stitch it because it was a work day. So I saved it for later when I had more time, and I went back and I stitched it, and I also decided I would like to pop it up on foam. This layout was made using a sketch from, I hope I don't say her name wrong, Yana, Saturday Sketches with Yana, and she has a video each Saturday in which she introduces a sketch, and I just love her sketches. I find them really inspirational, so this was my take on one of the sketches, and I use this Basic Gray Erie paper. It's my all-time favorite Halloween collection, and I use some different like little flowers and swirls or flourishes that were in my stash. And this is a Tim Holtz embellishment. Sometimes for load, it makes sense to use things that either you haven't completed in the past, or sometimes I use backgrounds that I made but then for whatever reason didn't use. I have a folder of them, and this was one of them. I saw a scrapbooker doing something similar to this on YouTube, and I wanted to try it, but then I didn't end up using it. It was kind of just an experiment. And then when I had the load challenge, I pulled it out, and I was able to make a fairly quick layout with 2 small photos, and then I layered in some of these dies from the Simple Stories Summer Farmhouse collection. This is probably my least favorite layout. I don't like the way there's not enough contrast between these two pieces of pattern paper, and I'm considering going back and changing this paper. I'm not really sure. Something about it has to be changed, but I figure for one page in 31 pages, it's okay to have one that I'm not as crazy about. There's some parts of it that I like this cluster right here. I love these gold animals, but there are parts of it that I'm not crazy about. I do have a process video for this one. This one was made using a cut file from the Silhouette store and mixed media on the background using a stencil and some sprays, and again using that basic gray Erie collection that I love, and some spiders from my stash. This was another background that I had made previously. I was making a video showing how you can use washi tape to make a background, and I never ended up finishing it, and it was perfect for these pictures. So I just had to add the photos and the embellishments and the title, and this one was done. And here is another layout that has like a Halloween theme, and I have mentioned in some of my other videos that my family does go to Salem, Massachusetts. Not every year, we didn't go this year, but we have gone there for several years in a row, and they have a lot of fun things going on there, so I do have a lot of Halloween themed pages to make. And so this one is called Hocus Pocus. I used some leaves that I cut off of a pick from Joanne and a few other Halloween themed, probably Jolie's mainly, stickers. I created this page using the Simple Stories Summer Farmhouse collection, and this page was made of photos that I took during a trip to Mystic, Connecticut, and I just really liked the way this kind of country look kind of went with the photos. And I don't usually use a busy pattern paper like this in the background, but I just decided I wanted to try it out. So I had fun making that one. Here's another Halloween themed layout. I have quite a few of these. I saw a lot of inspiration on Instagram, and I was just really in the mood to create Halloween themed layouts during October. So this one was made using this Prima spray, and I added some other little doodads in there from picks and from my stash, some flowers and leaves, and then these are some chipboard and die cut pieces, and I just used some pattern paper that I had in my stash and mixed some collections together. Halloween, it's easier to mix collections, I think, than some other themes because a lot of the colors are similar. For this layout, I used mixed media. I used a cut file from the Silhouette shop again, and I used a Tim Holtz collection called Abandoned. I got the 8x8-inch paper pad in Michael's, and I loved it, and I really wanted to use it, so I backed the cut file with it. And then this bat came off of the other page. It was the negative piece that came from cutting that out. So in order to make it a little more interesting, I covered it with some purple Deco Art metallic luster, and then I used a really, really tiny Tim Holtz stencil and just put some bumps in there using black texture paste. One of the prompts for Load was one about your home, and my home is really important to me. I have been living in my same house for many, many years. My family moved here to the area I'm in now when I was 5, and that's when my parents bought the house, and now I have the house with my husband and my children, and so it means a lot to me. So I didn't have a recent picture, and I kind of half finished the layout. I thought it was almost finished, but I ended up adding this to the bottom, and I'm going to be doing some journaling here, and I want to write my address over here. and I had to take a picture and then get it developed. So that happened a little bit later, but I'm really happy I made a layout about my house. I don't know that I would have thought to do that if I didn't have that load prompt. This is a layout made for my daughter's graduation day, and I'm trying to finish up this album. This was made using just very graduation themed papers and embellishments. I really didn't get too original with what I did here. And I originally had it just black and gold. And then I decided it needed a pop of color. So I added the red in. And then I think it started looking a little bit better once I had the red added in there. This page was made using a very old collection from My Mind's Eye called Miss Caroline, and I added in some Prima flowers and these banners, some little tiny little birdie flowers, and this adhesive ribbon that I got in Michael's a really long time ago. I've just about used up my favorite colors of that, and this was a pretty simple page. Probably going to do some journaling right here. Here is another Halloween themed layout, and I use a lot of the same things here. I use the same colors for the mixed media in the background. I use those spiderweb doilies again and some flourishes, some bead flourishes. I use those same leaves, some flowers from my stash, and that eerie collection from Basic Gray again. And I was just kind of in the mood to create a layout with my dogs in the picture. These are two of my dogs. I only had two dogs when I took those pictures. Now we have one more. And I thought that was super cute to have the title, You Had Me at Woof. So that was a sticker that I was able to just put right on there. And everything on there is dog themed. This layout was made using an older Simple Stories collection called 100 Days of Summer, and this is one of those collections that I really love. I love this kind of antique look to the background. I didn't do any mixed media other than I think I might have whited out some of the background with some gesso, with some white gesso. But other than that, I just added the layers of papers, and I made some clouds and added the sun on top, and then just put enamel dots anywhere there were flowers. I just put them as the centers. Here is another layout that I made. I love sunbursts, so I made the top of the page a sunburst, and then the bottom of the page is, as you could see, a bubble pattern paper, and I popped my photo up on some foam and added some embellishments around it, and I think this was a pretty quick page as well. This page was made on a trip to, well, it wasn't made on the trip to Cape Cod. It was made using some photos taken on our trip to Cape Cod, and I use a collection, it's a very old collection called Splash from Little Yellow Bicycle, and I really love this collection. I love the color combination. I stitched around some of the splashes. I didn't stitch around every single one, but I had only so much time, so I just stitched around some of them, and I think that ended up being enough. And then I used some little water droplets that are jewels, and this is from a photo play collection called Shark Attack, I think, and some puffy stickers. And that one also came together pretty quickly. This layout was made using a Simple Stories collection. I think it's called We Are Family, which is the title of my layout. Not so original, but true. And this was also taken in Cape Cod. And this was another example of a page where I had a decent amount of embellishments to go with the papers, so it was easy to create. This page was made again, using a cut file, and it's kind of the same thing that I've done in some of the other pages. I added some watercolor sprays to the background, did some splatters, and I put the cut file on top of it. And then like that bat I showed you before where I put the deco art metallic luster, and then I also added the texture using black texture paste and a Tim Holtz stencil. I did the same thing, and I feel like it just adds a little something extra. It's not just a blacked out part of the layout. There's a little bit of something to it. And then I had a bunch of ephemera and chipboard that I added in the background as well. This page was made using the Simple Stories collection called I Am, and they've had several of those collections. This is probably the oldest one. I believe that it is. And I love the flowers that were in this collection. And I had one of these banners as well, which I really like, and this big tag. I think that's great. And I'm going to be doing some journaling on here. This page was also made using the Simple Stories I Am collection, the same one from the last layout I showed you. And this was a picture of my two daughters when we went to visit my older daughter and her college dorm. And I just made some banners and I layered some punched out strips and added some embellishments. For this layout, I used the basic gray Erie collection again. I used strips that I already had. They were already cut out from other layouts, and I put a little bit of mixed media in the background and added some Halloween embellishments. This layout was made using some llama papers. So I actually bought two different pads that were llama themed because although they had llamas on a lot of the pages, you could use them for a lot of other things. And I knew I had some pages to make, and they're actually not llamas, or this is not actually a llama. There were some llamas there. They were alpacas, and it was a really fun trip. And the people that owned the farm were so super nice. So we really enjoyed ourselves. And this was another layout, no mixed media or anything, just some playing with paper. This layout was made using an older Simple Stories collection as well. And I didn't have a lot of embellishments for this one. I cut this out of the pattern paper, and some of these were, I think all of these flowers were just cut out of the pattern paper, and I added this trim on the bottom, and I just kind of made do with what I had. And the very last layout is called Summer Getaway, and this was made with an old K & Company collection. I believe it's called Citronella, and I like this big palm tree. Even though we were in Cape Cod, there's no palm trees in Cape Cod, but I just thought it added to the summery look. And I like these layered flowers that were in the collection and these big splashes, and this was a fun one to make. Well, that is my layout share for Load for October. And I want to thank you all for sticking with me to the end of this video. And I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and I'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.